saw the mayor of Austin. We saw the governor of California. We saw the mayor of Colorado tell everybody to stay in place and not to travel, and then don't eat in restaurants. And then they are caught doing the same exact thing. We have another example now. The governor, Gina Raimondo, urged residents to stay home except for essential activities, and she's caught out having wine at a bar.
This is Rhode Island.
I mean, over in Rhode Island. Here's what exactly. Go ahead. What's your comment on this?
Well, I was going to say, first, the good news is we all now know that drinking wine is essential.
We've known that.
So that's the good news. We've known that. And it can be done at home. But guess what? We are social creatures. And I do think that it has been 9 long months and that so many of us need that human contact. So I'm glad to see that that's happening. I'll tell you, the hardest thing for me this past week has been watching so many of these videos on Twitter of business owners, small business owners, pleading with soulless Democrats for their right as Americans to make an honest living. And I'm just reaching the point where I'm like, is this China or is this America? I just think it's time for us to stop asking for permission.
Well, she's ridiculous. She tells everyone else to stay home and goes out and pops a bottle. You got to be kidding me.
Right. And then her supporter said, well, she put her mask back on. I mean, we don't know if that's true or not, but it's ridiculous. This is what you see, by the way, in so many socialist countries where the leadership doesn't have to follow the same rules as everybody else.
But if I jump into, I mean, if Rachel says, are we American or Chinese? Americans actually don't always take the authoritarian rule from our leaders. We actually stand up and push back. These bar owners and restaurant owners, they should actually organize and say, listen, we're all going to stay open. We're not going to follow the rules, and you can't put us all in jail. We're all going to open up. And by the way, you don't have to come and see us. You can stay at home with your mask on and drink your wine at home.
Exactly.
But those who want to come out to our restaurant, we're going to be open, and we're going to be safe. And by the way, if these closures continue, Brian, and the government gives these workers a check for a little while, they're going to have checks for the rest of their life because there won't be any bars and restaurants to go back to work, and they're all going to be closed. We're all going to be forced, or these workers are all going to be forced to be on, the government dole forever because they're crushing these small businesses that won't come back.
Maybe that's the goal.
Maybe.
Well,
maybe it is. That's what they're doing in China. They're consolidating power even more. Whatever little bit of free market was left over this pandemic, Chairman Xi has consolidated and made it less so because the middle class has always been the most unruly, feisty group, and that's who you have to control. And I agree with Sean. I don't know why they haven't gotten together en masse and said we're not doing this.
Right, and we should point out that this is the same governor, I do believe, of Rhode Island, who's the one who sent out the highway patrol to look at license plates, make sure that out-of-towners weren't hanging out. So anyway, she got caught. All right, Duffy's.